it's Crystal. So we're gonna take just a minute to go over a couple kitchen safety thoughts, all right? So let's start with the idea of open flames, okay? So maybe you have a gas stove or a cool grill feature on yours, or even just those electrical coils once they really heat up. You have got to be mindful of where you place hand towels, pot holders, be mindful of long hair, pulling it back, okay? As well as any clothing that might be big and billowy, all right? So let's be mindful of that. Another thing to consider is the handles of pots and pans, all right? You may think some of these things are common sense, but let's just go over them anyways, okay? So, yes, no, this is a big no, okay? You yourself could bump it, or maybe you have someone small in the family that could come around when you weren't really paying attention. And as you can imagine, if this is full of hot liquid, hot fat, we have an emergency. All right, so mindful, no, yes. All right, great. Also as well, if you find yourself spilling anything, especially like on the floor, all right, let's just stop what we're doing and handle that. I actually love to start my cooking process with hot soapy water already going, already there, because sometimes I can get messy, which is fine. But my point is, if you have a mess, you need to clean it up, because otherwise it could lead to you slipping and falling, and especially if you're carrying something hot, that is super dangerous for not just you, but any people or pets around you, okay? So let's be mindful of that. A quick touch on knives. Sharp knife is actually safer than a dull knife. You should only be using knives on cutting boards, cutting downward and away from your body, okay? If you are walking with a knife, always point downward, all right? And I cannot say enough that when you are washing knives, slow down and be mindful, okay? Take your time. Also, please, do not leave these laying under that soapy water, okay? Because obviously you might forget it's there momentarily. And let's say you're going to clean up one of those spills and you grab with a washcloth and all right, I don't have to fill in the blank there. Not to mention if you have others in the home with you that don't know it's there or not aware, okay? So again, clean it, rinse it, put it down to dry in a safe spot, all right? Today I want to focus on a very important topic, cross-contamination. Yes, cross-contamination. It's actually really serious, so let's focus. We're going to start by defining it. It's the process of bacteria or other microorganisms unintentionally being transferred from one object to another with harmful effects. I mean, we are talking illness, but even something as serious as death. So we're gonna look at how this happens in the kitchen and absolutely how to avoid it, all right? So first things first we need to be mindful of is that we have hand soap near our water source, okay? And it's also super important, in my opinion, to have hot soapy water ready to go. All right, so let's think of it this way. We have ready to eat foods, let's say carrots. Let's say we're gonna cut some carrot sticks for a nice little snack, all right? But we also need to start preparing the chicken breast for our dinner. The idea here is pretty obvious. These two should not be worked intertwined, okay? These need to be separate processes. If you can prep the vegetables first, that's a win. Then we're ready to move on to the raw food, okay? Now, keep in mind that the packaging a lot of times can still contain some juices and there can be some drippings, so we need to be super mindful of how we move around the kitchen. All right, we definitely don't want to bring that over, say, our platter of carrot sticks, because if that drips down, there is no cooking process to minimize that bacteria or to cook it off, all right? So we could be looking at some tummy troubles or worse. So let's say we are moving on to prepping the chicken. All right, this is the time to be super mindful about what you're touching, because minimizing the bacteria throughout your kitchen really is your focus. All right, so we're talking about not answering the phone, not time to change your playlist, not time to open that snap or text. These things can wait, all right? So let's prep the raw food, move it to a separate clean dish once we're done, and then it's time to wash the cutting board, the knives, any of the utensils we used. I mean, you can handle raw meats with your hands. Some people prefer tongs, but anything that was utilized needs to be washed, okay? And then also wash down your work surface before you move on to the next thing. All right? So being mindful of hand washing, being mindful of ready to eat foods, coming near the raw foods, super important. And another thing to consider is the storage of raw meat in your refrigerator, okay? When I am thawing out raw meat, I like to put it in something large but with tall sides so that any juices that do drip out can be contained. And obviously the idea behind this is that the dripping mess won't occur that is annoying to clean up, but really it has to do with more of these juices dripping down onto a carton of strawberries that is going to be consumed with minimal washing and definitely minimal cooking, right? So these are just simple things that make a big difference. Thank you guys for joining me today. I really appreciate the time that you spent with me, and I hope that you found something useful here. All right, if you have any questions, as always, please do not hesitate to comment or send me a message, okay? Take care.